What would you do if cancer took your body and your own son took the rest? It's a question that has haunted my waking hours and invaded my dreams for what feels like an eternity. My name is Arthur. I am an old man, a widower recently, living alone in a house that once echoed with laughter and warmth, now filled with an unsettling silence. Cancer, the insidious thief, had stolen my physical strength, leaving my once vibrant body a shell of its former self. My beloved garden, once a testament to my dedication and passion, lay abandoned, a tangled mess of weeds and forgotten blooms. My routine, once structured and purposeful, had dissolved into a quiet, monotonous existence, each day blurring into the next. But the true desolation, the profound emptiness, came not from the disease, but from the abandonment of my only son, Michael, after my diagnosis. Unanswered messages, promised visits that never materialized, each silence a fresh wound. The garden, which had once symbolized life, care, and enduring bond one share with Michael, now mirror my emotional state. Neglected, hollow, utterly forgotten. It was a stark, living testament to everything I had lost. I remember the garden as it once was, a riot of color and fragrance, each plant a story, each bloom a memory. Michael, a tow-headed boy with eyes full of wonder, would follow me, his small hands eager to help. This Michael, I'd say, holding a handful of rich, dark earth, is where life begins. You nurture it, you protect it, and it will give back to you 100-fold. His little fingers would dig into the soil, mimicking my every move, his face smudged with dirt and joy. I taught him the names of every flower, every herb, every vegetable. We'd plant rows of vibrant tomatoes, their sweet scent filling the air, and watch his tiny seedlings push through the soil, reaching for the sun. I'd show him how to prune the roses, explaining that sometimes to encourage new growth, you had to let go of the old. He was a quick study, my boy, and his enthusiasm was infectious. Those were the golden years, etched in my memory with a fondness that now feels almost painful. The garden was our sanctuary, a place where our bond grew stronger with every seed we sowed, every weed we pulled. It was a tangible representation of our connection, a living legacy I hoped to pass on to him. Then came the diagnosis. The words still echo in my mind, a cold, clinical pronouncement that shattered the fragile piece of my life. Stage 4, the doctor said, his voice a low hum against the frantic pounding of my heart. It's aggressive. I remember Michael's face when I told him. His eyes, usually so bright and full of life, clouded over, a shadow falling across them. There was a flicker of something I couldn't quite decipher. Fear, perhaps, or something far more unsettling. He hugged me, a perfunctory embrace that lacked the warmth I desperately craved, and promised to be there. "I'll visit every week, Dad," he'd said, his voice a little too strained. "We'll get through this together." Those words, once a source of comfort, now sting with the bitter taste of broken promises. The visits never happened. The calls grew fewer and farther between. His messages, when they came, were brief, distant, devoid of the genuine concern I longed for. It was as if the diagnosis had not only attacked my body, but had also severed the ties that bound us. The change in his gaze, that initial flicker of something unreadable, had morphed into a permanent withdrawal. My son, my flesh and blood, had become a ghost in my own life, in the present. The garden outside my window serves as a cruel mirror to my fading strength. The weeds, once meticulously removed, now sprawl unchecked, choking the life out of everything they touch. The rose bushes, once bursting with fragrant blooms, are skeletal, their thorns a stark reminder of their former beauty. Each morning, I watch the insidious march of nature reclaiming what was once so carefully tended, and I feel profound kinship with the dying plants. My body, too, is weakening, each day a struggle against the relentless tide of the disease. The silence in the house is deafening, punctuated only by the distant hum of traffic or the mournful cry of a bird. I often find myself drifting back to those days with Michael, remembering his laughter, the way his small hand fit perfectly in mine. The contrast between those vibrant memories and the desolate reality of my present is a constant ache. One sweltering afternoon, as I sat by the window, lost in a haze of pain and regret, a battered pickup truck rumbled to a stop outside my house. A man emerged, his frame lean and weathered, a wide-brimmed hat shielding his eyes from the harsh sun. He carried a collection of tools, their metallic glint catching the light. He introduced himself as Mateo, a local gardener, and explained that Michael had arranged for him to tend the garden. A flicker of hope, so fragile and fleeting, ignited within me. Perhaps Michael hadn't forgotten me entirely. Perhaps this was his way of reaching out, a silent apology for his absence. Mateo began his work with a quiet efficiency, his movements deliberate and practiced. He didn't speak much at first, simply focused on the task at hand, transforming the tangled mess into something resembling order. I watched him from my window, a silent observer of his patient labor. Days turned into weeks. Mateo continued to arrive, his presence a quiet rhythm in my otherwise stagnant life. He'd start early, even before the sun fully climbed the sky, and work until late afternoon, leaving only when the last rays of light began to fade. Slowly, painstakingly, the garden began to revive. Weeds were pulled, soil was turned, and dormant plants began to show signs of life. But what surprised me most wasn't just the physical transformation of the garden. It was Mateo himself. He started talking, first in short, polite exchanges about the weather or the plants. Then gradually, his words grew warmer, more personal. He'd bring me small gifts, a freshly picked tomato from his own garden, a fragrant bunch of herbs, a small, vibrant potted flower. He never asked for payment, saying only, "It's good to see life coming back, Mr. Arthur." One afternoon, I sat on the porch, my strength barely enough to hold a cup of tea, watching Mateo prune a particularly unruly rose bush. He paused, wiping the sweat from his brow, and looked at me. "You know, Mr. Arthur," he said, his voice gentle, "this garden has a lot of stories, doesn't it?" I nodded, a lump forming in my throat. He continued, "You can tell a lot about a man by his garden, the care he puts into it, the love he shares with it." He didn't pry, didn't ask about Michael, but his words resonated deeply within me. He saw beyond the neglect, beyond the weeds, to the heart of what the garden once was, and what it could be again. He saw me, not just an old man ravaged by illness, but a man who once poured his heart and soul into something beautiful. The contrast between Michael's abandonment and Mateo's unsolicited kindness grew sharper with each passing day. My own son, my blood, had retreated into a silence that felt colder than any winter. Yet, this stranger, this quiet gardener, had stepped into the void, offering not just his labor but his presence, his genuine compassion. He didn't owe me anything. He wasn't bound by family ties or obligation. And yet he remained. He listened to my rambling stories about the old days, about Michael's childhood, about my late wife, Eleanor. He'd nod, his eyes full of understanding, never interrupting, never judging. He'd share stories of his own, of his family, his struggles, his simple joys. In the quiet rhythm of his work and our conversations, a fragile bridge began to form, connecting my isolated world to the warmth of human connection. One brisk morning, as the first hint of autumn painted the leaves in fiery hues, Mateo found me slumped in my chair, struggling to breathe. He didn't panic. He simply helped me back inside, made me a cup of warm tea, and sat with me until my breathing eased. "You're not alone, Mr. Arthur," he said, his hand resting gently on my shoulder. It was a simple statement, but it carried the weight of profound truth. In that moment, I realized that the pain of Michael's absence, what had consumed me for so long, was slowly being replaced by something else entirely. It wasn't just gratitude. It was a sense of dignity, a feeling of being seen and valued, even in my weakened state. Mateo wasn't trying to replace Michael, and I wasn't looking for a substitute. He was simply offering what Michael had withheld: genuine human connection, empathy, and unwavering support. The garden, once a symbol of my despair, was now a testament to resilience, a vibrant tapestry woven with Mateo's tireless efforts and my renewed hope. The roses bloomed again, their petals soft and velvety, their fragrance filling the air. The tomato plants, though late in the season, bore small, sweet fruits. Even the weeds seemed less daunting, kept at bay by Mateo's diligent hand. I found myself looking forward to his visits, to the quiet hum of his work, to the gentle cadences of his voice. He had become more than a gardener. He had become a lifeline, He didn't talk about my cancer, didn't offer empty platitudes or unsolicited advice. He simply treated me with respect, with kindness, with a quiet strength that was precisely what I needed. I remember a particular afternoon, the sun warm on my face as I sat on the porch swing, watching Mateo carefully tend to a small patch of wildflowers. He looked up, a smile creasing the corners of his eyes. "Look, Mr. Arthur," he said, pointing to a tiny bud, "a new beginning." And it was not just for the flower, but for me. The weight that had pressed down on my chest for so long, the crushing burden of abandonment and despair, began to lift. It wasn't a sudden, miraculous cure for my illness, but a profound shift in my spirit. Mateo, this quiet, unassuming man, had shown me that even in the darkest corners of life, light can still find a way in. He had shown me that kindness, in its simplest and purest form, holds an extraordinary power. The tension that had built within me, a knot of bitterness and sorrow, slowly began to unravel. I no longer felt just the searing pain of betrayal from my son. I felt a burgeoning sense of gratitude, a quiet joy in the simple act of existing, of witnessing the beauty of the garden reborn. My conversations with Mateo became deeper, more reflective. We talked about life, about loss, about the unexpected ways people come into our lives and change them forever. He never once spoke ill of Michael, never hinted at the stark contrast between my son's actions and his own. He simply offered his unwavering presence, his silent understanding. And in that unspoken kindness, I found a solace that no words could adequately describe. One day, as Mateo was packing up his tools, I found myself saying something I hadn't intended to say, something that had been simmering beneath the surface for months. "Mateo," I began, my voice a little shaky. "You know that Michael, he hasn't been around." Mateo paused, his back to me, and then slowly turned. His expression was unreadable, but his eyes were kind. "I know, Mr. Arthur," he said softly, "but you're not alone now." His words, so simple, so direct, were like a balm to my wounded soul. They acknowledged my pain without dwelling on it, and offered comfort without pity. It was in that moment, truly, that I understood the depth of the gift he was giving me. He wasn't just restoring my garden. He was restoring my faith in humanity, my belief that goodness still existed, even for a man like me, left broken and forgotten. The garden now flourishes, a vibrant testament to resilience and the enduring power of care. The once barren patches are bursting with life, the colors more vivid, the scents more intoxicating than I remember. It is a garden reborn, mirroring the quiet transformation within my own heart. I understand now that family isn't always about who shares your blood, but rather about who chooses to stay, who chooses to care, who chooses to offer their hand when you are at your weakest. Michael, my son, may have been born into my family, but it was Mateo, the stranger, who truly became family in the truest sense of the word. He chose to be there, not out of obligation, but out of profound, unspoken kindness. The cancer, that relentless thief, did not take everything. It stole my physical strength, yes, and it exposed the painful truth of my son's abandonment. But in its wake, it also revealed something profound, something beautiful, the inherent humanity that resides in the hearts of strangers. It showed me that even when those closest to you turn away, there are others, unexpected and unassuming, who will step forward, offering solace and support without expectation of reward. Mateo's quiet act of kindness, his unwavering presence, reignited a spark within me that I thought had been extinguished forever. He taught me that even in the face of immense loss, there is still room for hope, for connection, for a renewed sense of purpose. His gentle spirit, his tireless hands, and his listening ear saved me in a way that no medicine ever could. He didn't cure my cancer, but he healed a deeper wound, the one that festered in my soul. He reminded me that life, much like a garden, can be cultivated and nurtured even after seasons of neglect. It can bloom again more vibrant and resilient than before, if only someone is willing to tend to it with love and patience. His quiet presence was a profound lesson in the power of human connection, a testament to the fact that kindness, extended without obligation, can truly transform a life. So, what would I say to you watching this? I would tell you to look around. Look at your neighbors, your acquaintances, the people you encounter in your daily life. Who among them might be silently struggling, their own gardens overgrown with the weeds of sorrow and loneliness? Who might be yearning for a simple act of kindness, a listening ear, a gentle hand? You don't need grand gestures or heroic acts. Sometimes, the most profound impact comes from the quietest of moments, from the simplest of offerings. Mateo, a humble gardener, changed my life not with grand pronouncements, but with consistent, unwavering kindness. He reminded me that true wealth isn't measured in possessions, but in the richness of human connection. The cancer took my strength, and my son took everything else, or so I thought. But then, a gardener, a stranger, brought it all back and more. He showed me that even after 50 years, even after profound loss, life can still surprise you with its capacity for beauty and connection. He showed me that even when the world feels cold and unforgiving, there is still warmth to be found in the most unexpected places. And in that warmth, I found not just peace, but a renewed sense of purpose, a quiet acceptance of what is, and profound gratitude for the unexpected kindness that saved my life. Remember this: helping someone, even without obligation, can transform destinies. It can bring light to the darkest corners and rekindle hope where it seemed lost forever. So I urge you, look around, recognize who might need a helping hand, a kind word, a moment of your time. And if this story, my story, has touched you, if it has reminded you that kindness still exists in a world that often feels harsh and indifferent, then please share it. Share it with someone who believes that goodness still prevails, that empathy can still mend broken hearts, and that a simple act of human connection can truly change a life. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Emotional Life Tales, Voices After 50, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss another story that might just touch your heart. In podcast studio, Day Arthur, now visibly more energetic, a faint but steady glow in his eyes, leans back slightly in his chair, a comfortable smile gracing his lips. The studio lights reflect softly off his silver hair. Arthur, my story, Mateo's story, is not unique in its essence. It's a tapestry woven from countless threads of human experience, each one a testament to the enduring power of connection. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you been in a crowded room, surrounded by people, yet felt utterly alone? How many times have you put on a brave face, laughed at a joke, offered a polite smile, all while a storm raged within your own soul? We are masters of disguise, aren't we? We build walls, not always out of malice, but often out of fear, out of misguided belief that vulnerability is a weakness. We fear judgment. We fear rejection. We fear the very intimacy that could heal us. But what if we started to dismantle those walls, brick by brick? What if we dared be seen, truly seen, not just for the polished facade we present the world, but for the messy, complicated, beautiful beings we truly are? Mateo didn't see my perfectly manicured lawn. He saw the struggling garden of my heart. He didn't judge my grief. He simply acknowledged it with a quiet understanding that transcended words. That's the magic of true connection. It bypasses the superficial and touches the core of who we are. I remember one afternoon, shortly after Mateo started working for me. I was sitting on the porch, watching him meticulously prune a rose bush that had long since lost its vibrancy. I felt a familiar pang of despair, a sense of resignation that mirrored the dying roses. He looked up, his hands covered in soil, a small smudge on his cheek. He didn't say anything profound, didn't offer empty platitudes. He simply held out a single, perfect rosebud, still dewy from the morning, a vibrant crimson against the green. "It's resilient," he said, his voice soft, "just like you." It wasn't a grand gesture, not a dramatic declaration. It was a simple, heartfelt offering, a recognition of an unspoken truth. And in that moment, something shifted within me. It wasn't a sudden cure, not a miraculous transformation. It was a tiny spark, a flicker of hope in the vast darkness. That spark, nurtured by Mateo's consistent kindness, eventually grew into a flame that illuminated my path forward. This isn't about expecting others to solve our problems. It's about creating an environment where problems can be shared, where burdens can be lightened, and where the weight of the world feels a little less crushing. It's about understanding that sometimes the greatest gift we can give someone is simply to be present, to listen without judgment, to offer a silent reassurance that they are not alone. I've learned that loneliness is a silent epidemic, a disease that preys on the isolated and the forgotten. It doesn't discriminate based on age, wealth, or social status. It can creep into the grandest mansions and the humblest apartments, leaving a trail of despair in its wake. My own journey through profound loneliness taught me its insidious power. I had friends, a beautiful home, financial security, everything on the surface that one might desire. Yet, after losing my wife and then feeling the chasm grow between my son and me, I felt an emptiness so vast it threatened to consume me. It was in that void that Mateo appeared, not as a savior, but as a guide. He didn't fill the void. He showed me how to cultivate new growth within it. He showed me that even in the barren landscape of grief, seeds of joy and connection could still take root. He taught me the profound wisdom of the garden, that even after a harsh winter, spring always returns, bringing with it the promise of new life. And that's the message I want to impart to you today. Don't underestimate the ripple effect of a single act of kindness. That smile you offer to a stranger, the compliment you give to a colleague, the moment you pause to truly listen to a friend. These seemingly small gestures can create a cascade of positive change. They can be the catalyst that transforms someone's day, someone's week, someone's life. Think about your own life. Who has extended a hand to you when you needed it most? Who has offered a word of encouragement when you felt like giving up? Who has simply been there, a silent presence, when the world felt too loud and overwhelming? Those are the people who have planted seeds of kindness in your own garden, and their impact is immeasurable. Now, it's your turn to be that person for someone else. It doesn't require a grand plan or a heroic deed. It starts with awareness. It starts with looking beyond the surface, beyond the polite smiles and the carefully constructed facades. It starts with recognizing the subtle cues, the unspoken pleas for connection that are often hidden in plain sight. Maybe it's the elderly neighbor who struggles with their groceries. Maybe it's a young parent who looks overwhelmed at the park. Maybe it's the colleague who seems unusually quiet. Maybe it's even a family member, someone you see every day, whose silent struggles have gone unnoticed. I'm not advocating for unsolicited advice or intrusive interventions. I'm advocating for genuine human connection, for empathy that extends beyond ourselves. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply to acknowledge someone's presence, to offer a genuine smile, to ask, "How are you really?" And then to truly listen to the answer. We live in a world that often prioritizes efficiency over empathy, speed over connection. We are constantly bombarded with information, with demands on our time and attention. It's easy to get caught up in a whirlwind, to lose sight of the simple, profound beauty of human interaction. But I believe that by slowing down, by intentionally seeking out opportunities for connection, we can create a more compassionate and supportive world. My life, after 50 years, after profound loss, was transformed by a simple act of kindness from a humble gardener. He didn't have a fancy degree or a powerful title. He just had a kind heart and a willingness to share his time and his wisdom. And in doing so, he reminded me of a fundamental truth. We are all interconnected. Our well-being is intrinsically linked to the well-being of others. So, as you go about your day, I urge you to carry this thought with you. Who can you uplift today? Who can you offer a moment of your time, a kind word, a listening ear? Who can you remind that they are seen, that they are valued, that they are not alone? And remember, sharing stories like mine is another powerful act of kindness. It's a way to spread hope, to remind others that even in the darkest of times, light can be found. It's a way to foster a sense of community, to show that we are all in this together. My journey is far from over. Each day brings new challenges, new opportunities for growth, new moments of connection. But I face them now with a renewed sense of purpose, a heart filled with gratitude, and profound belief in the transformative power of human kindness. I am a living testament to the fact that it is never too late to cultivate a life filled with meaning, connection, and joy. So, if my story has resonated with you, if it has stirred something within your own heart, then please, don't keep it to yourself. Share it. Talk about it. Let it be a conversation starter. Let it be a reminder that goodness still prevails, that empathy can still mend broken hearts, and that a simple act of human connection can truly change a life. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Emotional Life Tales, Voices After 50, and hit that notification bell. Because there are countless more stories waiting to be told, waiting to touch your heart, waiting to remind you of the extraordinary power of the ordinary. Thank you for listening.